Taking a live look outside, and it is going to be a hot one around here, bracing for record-breaking temperatures. And so are our public health leaders, who are urging people to take the heat seriously.
That's right. And joining us now, Lauren Jenkins with the State Department of Health. She works for the Environmental Public Health Division. Lauren, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So we know this week won't be as hot as last year's heat wave. A lot of us still remember that. But what do you want people to know today?
Oh, last year was record-breaking, and heat can be deadly, right? We lost 157 people due to that heat wave last year, and we don't ever want to see that again. So I think what we need to remember this year is to take this heat seriously. We won't get quite as hot as we did last year, but it still will be hot enough to have an impact on our bodies, and we've got to find ways to stay cool, whether that's finding air conditioning or making sure you've got access to cool water, like a cool shower, or even cool wet cloths can cool you off pretty quickly. Staying hydrated and staying informed. And that's from news programs like this, but also informed about how your neighbors and your family are doing, and making sure that everybody is staying safe.
And, you know, even though folks do take a lot of the precautions, some people get into trouble. When should people call for help in this heat?
Well, we'll call 911 when somebody is having heat stroke, and you'll know that because their face is red and hot and dry. They've stopped sweating. Maybe you're feeling a throbbing headache, dizziness. You got to get this person cooled down as quick as possible, even if that means spraying them with cold water from the garden hose as quickly as possible, and call 911. Before we see that sort of medical emergency, we'll see heat exhaustion. And now you've got your person is sweating profusely, and they're pale and feeling tired and weak. And again, you want to get this person to shade or air conditioning very quickly. You want to give them something cool to drink and rest. And if that doesn't get better relatively quickly, like within an hour or so, you would get medical help then as well.
Oh, we appreciate you bringing us this information. You mentioned how many people died from the heat wave last summer. What did your department learn from our heat wave of June of 2021?
Well, we learned that, like everywhere else in the world, heat is the deadliest weather disaster that occurs here and in other places. And we know now that we are going to have early warning systems for this sort of climate change related incident. And we're talking about heat response plans and heat action plans, and making sure that all levels of government and our community-based organizations and healthcare providers are alerted to the dangers of heat waves like this. We're on the western side of the mountains. We're accustomed to mild weather and, maybe enjoying the heat, which is great, until we get to really high temperatures, or the temperatures that don't cool overnight. And then we know that we've got to be ready to respond to that. And as we're seeing changes to our climate right now, right? Certainly that heat dome is one of them. We know that we need to take climate change very seriously, both in the things that we can do to protect Washingtonians while the climate is changing, and the things that we can do to prevent the worst potential impacts of climate change.
And Lauren, we know that many people here don't have air conditioning. They don't have that luxury. And you already mentioned some ways that we can stay cool, using a cool towel, using the hose to stay cool as well. Mm-hmm. So my question for you is how can we prepare our homes perhaps to keep our homes cooler? You know, what are some strategic ways that we can do that?
Right. If you're able to get a little air conditioner, or if you are at a point in your house's life where you need to replace the furnace, and you might choose to replace that with a heat pump, which would be environmentally great, and it would come with the air conditioning. Those are some things that we can do. If you can't make those changes right now, I would say don't rely, as it gets to be over 90 degrees, on fans. That may make you feel more comfortable for a short term, but it's not going to really prevent heat exhaustion as the temperature gets really high. So really what I would say right now is to be looking for those places in the community where you can go that do have air conditioning, and that could be your local library. It could be, the mall or a movie theater or something like that. Or you could call 211 and be connected to local cooling centers. And as you do that, I would just remind you to be COVID safe. And if you're indoors close to people, be wearing a mask.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Thanks so much for your time, helping us all prepare.
Absolutely. Stay cool.
We will do our best. That's
Yeah.
Lauren Jenkins with the Department of Health.